What's going on, everybody? Mr. Enyart here with Mr. Enyart's Mathematical Compositions. This is Grade 6, Module 6, Lesson 1 from Eureka Math or Engage New York, talking about statistical questions, numerical, categorical. Are we asking lots of people? Are we asking one person? Are we having to check lots of things in survey, or are we getting it from one source? So stick around. We're going to have some fun. All right, y'all. So this is Lesson 1, Grade 6, Module 6. And the key to this lesson is really this very first section right here, making questions using data. We call them statistical questions. And we're just trying to decide whether or not a particular question is a statistical question. So it has to do the following things. Number one, it has to pose a question that can be answered by data. It has to be a question that can be answered by data, meaning we will have to actually receive information back about it. So step two is we'd have to be able to determine a plan to collect that data. Then we'd have to be able to summarize the data with graphs and numerical summaries. And we'd have to be able to answer questions, the question posed in one, using data and summaries. If we can't do these things based off of what the question asks us to do, then it's not a statistical question. So let's just go straight into some examples. You can pause the video and read this if you'd like, but I'm going to jump right into the questions based on Jerome's information. We have 4 questions. What's his favorite card? What's the typical cost? Are current players or past players? And then what's his newest card? I would say that these 3 are statistical questions because we would have to look through the cards and find the cost of each one and analyze it. That's data. For this one, we would have to find out the date of each player that played and run data on that and organize it. Then this one, newest card, again, we'd have to do not just the date of the players, but the date the card was issued, which is pretty similar to that one, I would suppose, as far as when it came out. But you can find players in cards, old cards that are brand new players, and new cards that are players who've played for a long time, so whatever. But look at the first question. What is Jerome's favorite card? What kind of data would you need for that? None. You can't get data. You're asking one person a question, and that person's making a choice. We're not surveying people. We're not looking through a list of cards and analyzing data. We're just getting an opinion from somebody. That is not a statistical question. So this example brings up the concept of categorical or numerical data. This would be a good thing to put in your math journal or to stop, pause, and write down and look up yourself, and then listen to my explanation and my examples. So categorical simply means we use words as our data. Favorite teams, locations of places, things like that. Numerical means we're actually using numbers like money, or heights, distances, things like that. So if our data will be a bunch of words that we're analyzing, then that's categorical. If it's a bunch of numbers we're analyzing, that's numerical. So looking at A, heights of 26th graders, what would that be? That would be numerical because heights are going to be numbers. We're not going to be typing words. We're going to be typing numbers. Favorite flavor of ice cream, letter B, what do you think? That's going to be categorical. And some of the confusion is, oh, but there's still numbers. So what? You're going to be listing vanilla or chocolate or strawberry. Those are words that we're listing. Those are categories of ice cream, not numbers of ice cream. All right, C, what do you think? That's going to be numerical. Hours is time. Type of beverage. Yep, categorical. Eye color. Categorical. And number of pencils. That's going to be numerical because we have to count them. And we're not categorizing the pencils, we're just counting them. They're all pencils, so how many of them are there? So how'd you do on that? So like always, make sure to read this lesson summary, write down the notes in your math journal, and then pause the video and do the problem set yourself. Then check back with mine and see how you did. Okay, let's look at number 1. For each of the following, determine whether the questions are statistical or not. So will we use data or will we not? All right, so I'm just going to go straight through. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so that my letters are easier to write. Here we go. How many letters are in my last name? No. I'm asking nobody questions. I'm not gathering data. I'm simply counting the letters in my name. That's not a statistical question. How many letters are in the last names of the students in my 6th grade class? Well, now we got a lot more to count. We're going to have to go to a lot more people. So absolutely, that's a yes. Okay, what are the colors of shoes worn by students at my school? Yes, I'm going to have to take that. I'm going to have to go around the school and look at people's shoes and write stuff down and analyze it. It's the maximum number of feet that roller coasters drop during a ride. That sounds like an absolute yes. The key is roller coasters. Which ones? Right? Now, we will need to get more specific because this is way too broad, but we're going to have to study some roller coasters, find out their maximum number of feet that drop from the whatever highest hill and go from there. What are the heart rates of students in the 6th grade class? Yes, we're definitely going to have to do some research on that. How many hours of sleep per night do 6th graders usually get when they have school the next day? Absolutely. That's a lot of data we have to collect. How many miles per gallon do compact cars get? Yes. So we only had one non-statistical question. Okay, so for number 2, we're just identifying, is it categorical, meaning words that we're looking at, or is it numerical, meaning numbers that we're looking at? Arm spans of 6th graders. So an arm span would be a measurement that we would take, a distance, so that's going to be numerical. Letter B, number of languages spoken by each of 20 adults. So this is, we're not going to be asking them what language, we're going to ask how many languages. That's going to be numerical. Favorite sport, though, we are going to be listing the words of the sports. That's going to be categorical. Number of pets, that's going to be numerical. And number of hours reading a book, that's going to be numerical. And for number 3, all we really have to do is make sure that we're addressing a group of people, not just one person. How many pets does your teacher have? We're just asking one person a question, and we're getting one answer. But we could say, how many pets do the teachers at our school have, right? So instead of saying your teacher, say, how many pets does the teachers at Comanche have? So when you're writing these questions, really just think about how can I change it from getting one answer from one person to getting a group of answers from a group of people. So how many points did the high school soccer team score in its last game? Well, that's just one game. So how about in its season, right? They play several games in the season. And so we'd have to look at many different games, and that's how we could make it a statistical question. How many pages are in our math book? Well, all we have to do is go to the last page of the math book, and we're done. Right? So we might want to say, how many pages are in each book for each subject? Man, I might just forget this whole book thing, at least for math or whatever, but maybe just, I'm just going to use the one they have. So what's the typical number of pages for books in a school library, right? So what's the typical number of pages for books in the library? And this is going to obviously be almost impossible to figure out because you have to go through each one. But you could say maybe the fiction section or something. Can I do a handstand? How about how many 6th graders can do a handstand? Now I have to go through a group of people and survey them. So we're taking it away from being just something one person can answer and you're done with it. Or you can look at one thing and you're done, to having to actually chart some information down, survey some people, and get either numerical or categorical data.